This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA intelligence platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is sponsored by Postman. Postman is the world's leading API platform, trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500 and over 40 million developers. Tap into APIs from 18,000 plus companies to power agents that make smarter decisions. Learn more at postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by Melee Search. Today, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And Melee Search gives your users the experience they need with lightning-fast performance, full-text search, AI usage, and multimodal capabilities. Melee Search delivers relevant results in less than the blink of an eye. Use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout to get 2 months free at meleesearch.com. That's MEILI search.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com.
We were the one to kind of build the initial design, but we had a goal in mind. Like, we knew exactly who is going to be the first design partner and the pains that we are going to solve. So we focused on that. So our initial MVP included the first version of our library, which is the core part that allows us to plug in external UI pieces into existing logic, and a very basic version of our dashboard with probably the ugliest UI you've ever seen. My name is Keren Fanan, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at MyOp.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve more.
I was proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was
Yes, we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time. The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took
you.
it off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
to ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it.
It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today, how Keren Fanan is creating the smartest way to plug AI UI into your app so you can ship faster. Keren Fanan doesn't come from a tech-based family, yet has worked in tech for the last 15 years. She's not a developer herself, but has always been drawn to software in general. As in her words, software runs the world. She studied industrial engineering, but quickly moved into product roles, working for AT&T, Gett and Moon Active in the past. Deep down, she always wanted to found a company of her own. But outside of tech, she lives near Tel Aviv in Israel and has lived there her whole life. Her and her 3 kids like to travel, go camping, and be in nature as much as possible. Keren and her co-founders felt similar pains in the industry, all from different angles. No matter how good their ideas were, no matter the initiative, there was always a long process in software dev to bring them to life. This was especially true for non-technical founders. They wanted a way to bring their ideas straight to production without having to wait on the full life cycle. This is the creation story of MyOp.
MyOp is a development platform for front-end developers that helps companies ship UI and UX faster. What we do is we let teams plug external UI pieces, which is technically external UI components, directly into live production logic, while we keep them fully isolated and manageable at runtime. I can now go and build a new UI piece, a new interface. I can use AI for that. I can take an external developer for that. I can take one of the visual design tools that exist out there, and I can take that output and plug it into my live web application without needing to reopen my core code base or waiting for redeploys every time that I do it. All of us, all 3 co-founders who came after years of experience in the dev world, felt the same pain from different angles. Like, I'm the only founder who is non-technical. One of the biggest pains that I felt was that no matter how good the idea that I have in mind or initiative that I have, improving the product, I always had to wait for the full development and deploy cycle to bring it to life. Even for just a handful of users to see if there is something there. There is always this long process that you have to go through in order to take an idea to production. And if you are a non-developer like myself, you are fully dependent on someone else. So you can't really take things all the way through without making someone else to do it for you. And when I joined the gaming industry, I remember for the first time that I've seen a completely different world, because in the gaming industry, one of the prime monetization driver is the ability to make UI, sometimes UX changes, and create higher engagement and retention and repetitive usage of some abilities in the game simply by changing the way it looks. And in order to do that at scale, gaming firms had to develop the ability to control some elements of the UI and UX remotely. So when I joined as VP of product to this gaming firm leading both product and monetization, that was for the first time in my life, in my professional life, that I had control on some elements in production. And I was in a position to take ideas to production in a matter of days, sometimes even hours. And that was an unbelievable superpower that I felt that I remember felt insane. I remember thinking, wow, like companies, they don't even know what they're missing. If the processes, if the ability to make changes would be easier. But the thing is that in the gaming industry, the way they do it is that they normally build in-house custom solutions that let you control some elements of your app remotely, which is extremely expensive and also very specific to the team and the technology, and it's not scalable. And with MyOp, we believe that we are giving the same superpower to the masses. Because when you can plug into your app external pieces, but to still keep them contained and manageable at runtime, meaning I don't actually insert or embed that code into your code base, then you are giving the same level of freedom. And I would just add that I think that now with AI, everything is going to take into the extreme because AI makes code to be generated faster than ever. People can generate code faster, the bot can generate code faster, design tools. We have all the design to code tools that are now making that faster than ever. But the question that I believe is going to come next is that how do you actually connect all of that external code and manage it and control it and run it safely in production? And that probably requires a new approach and a new infrastructure, which we are building with MyOp.
So let's dive into what you would consider the MVP. Now, I know you're not the technical founder, but this is really around, the process of building an MVP. Maybe not the code itself or the frameworks used. Maybe you can mention those things, but I'm curious about the process that you went through in building an MVP and how long it took you to bring it to life.
So we created the MVP after, I think, 3 months. So after 3 to 4 months maximum, we had it already working, the very basic initial version with our first design partner, which was also, I think, a pivotal moment because we were the one to kind of build the initial design, but we had a goal in mind. Like we knew exactly who is going to be the first design partner and the pains that we are going to solve. So we focused on that. So our initial MVP included the first version of our library, which is the core part that allows us to plug in external UI pieces into existing logic, and a very basic version of our dashboard with probably the ugliest UI you've ever seen. But we just wanted to create the basic interface to manage everything, and we still didn't have the full design ready, but it worked. And we gave that terrible product into our first design partner, and we had, I think it was just 2 developers working with that and playing with it. And that's how we took it all the way into their production. Like our first customer was capable of using MyOp. So that's how we started the MVP. It was just the 2 of us, Hadar, the CTO, and myself. I handled the product side and worked closely with our kind of designer to build up things. And Hadar did everything else, developing it and doing the product side for the more technical stuff. And we kept things this way for 6 to 7 months to validate the concept and get the very first usage. And at some point, we really wanted to bring more users into the platform. And we just felt that it's too embarrassing to take it this way to more users. So we decided then to build the second version, I would say, of the MVP, still very basic, but to invest more in the UX itself, in the experience, to make it feel a bit more mature than it was at the beginning. So that's how we started.
This episode is brought to you by Paddle. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more, MOR, and DIY less. With Paddle. Paddle is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Paddle handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Paddle and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Paddle as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA intelligence platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is sponsored by Mailtrap, an email platform developers love. Try for free at mailtrap.io. That's mailtrap.io. This episode is sponsored by Postman. APIs are the foundation of reliable AI, and reliable APIs start with Postman. Trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500, Postman is the platform that helps over 40 million developers build and scale the APIs behind their most critical business workflows. With Postman, teams get centralized access to the latest LLMs and APIs, MCP support, and no-code workflows, all in one platform. Quickly integrate critical tools and build multi-step agents without writing a single line of code. Start building smarter, more reliable agents today. Visit postman.com/podcast/codestory to learn more. That's postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by .tech Domains. Picture this. You dig deep and think of an amazing name for your tech startup, spending months to perfect it. And then you settle for a cluttered .com domain with fillers and added words. Yeah, it's really disappointing. That is, unless you get a clean, sharp, and memorable .tech domain. .tech signals loud and clear that tech is at your startup's core. A .tech domain shows your focus and intent, building credibility with VCs and customers, and anyone who sees it knows instantly this is a tech startup. If you are building a tech startup, you want a .tech domain, and that's because it just makes sense. And if I were you, I'd skip the workaround domains and go straight for the loudest signal. Head over to get.tech/codestory or a domain registrar like GoDaddy or Namecheap and grab the perfect .tech domain today. That's get.tech/codestory. So then moving forward, I'm curious about how you progressed and matured the product, right? And, this is probably where your bread and butter is given your background, but I'm curious about roadmap. Right? How did you and the team go about deciding that, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address with MyOp?
It's a combination, because there are the things that over time, we do see ourselves as the domain expert of that specific space, because we talk to people, we interview, we play with it ourselves. Like, we've built our own product with MyOp. So I'm basically going into our dashboard and making changes to our UI UX remotely without using our dev team today. From one end, we are using our own input into that, but we try to combine it as much as possible with what our customers ask. So we are super attentive to their feedback and requests. We almost always say yes, and we'll actually prioritize external requests higher than the things that we have in the roadmap. But we do talk about each and every request internally to see whether it's something that we believe that helps us progress the product as a whole, rather than just developing something specifically. Now, obviously, we don't always know the answer, right? Sometimes we say, yes, for sure, there will be more customers wanting these specific features, and we will end up realizing it's not the case. But for us, I think it's the combination. We have what we bring to the table, and we have what we hear from people using the software. For example, one of the things that influenced our roadmap the most recently is that, like, we had a full plan for the upcoming month, and then we started getting a lot of feedback from people trying our system that they literally don't understand what we want them to do. Now, when we've built the initial product in mind, we said, okay, we are building a dev tool, and developers, they like to figure things themselves, and they like reading through documentations and watching through tutorials. And we don't have to kind of walk them through hand in hand on how to use the product because it's not their style. And we realized that's not at all true, that people barely read. I don't think anyone reads anymore. Okay, we have probably, what's the recent number? Like 7 seconds of attention to something before we jump on. And I think that all the conventions that we had in our head on how you need to build products for developers, it's also not true anymore. And we had to now redo the whole onboarding process and to find a way to keep this flexibility of letting someone self-explore the platform and yet making it super clear from the product, like by using the product, on what do I need to do next without needing to go out and read through a full documentation page and all of that. So that's just one example on how our product evolve and progress.
Okay, so I'm curious about team, right? I hear you mentioning we, and I know there's several co-founders, but I'm curious about how you built your team and what you look for in those people to indicate that they're the winning horses to join you.
Kind of step by step, we started by obviously doing everything ourselves and then kind of trying to see ahead where we're going to need additional help, which is, by the way, always very much difficult because in most of the cases, it's from 0 to 1. It's not you are in full control and then slowly you feel you need an extra help. It's normally you feel that you have everything covered, but then something can happen and you feel that the next day you need help here and there. So that's something that I find to be quite interesting in early stage startups versus more of the large scale firms, which there it's completely different. So every time we grew the team and exactly in the areas that we felt that we need them, first in the development space, and then we got some extra help in building the developer community. And then we understood we need extra help in the product management and so on. When I hire people to the team, I look for people who are, one, obviously hungry and motivated, because you have to have it built in you when you join a startup. I think that when you join an already successful company, there are a lot of external things that help you become more motivated, because it could be a large team or the press around it or some very clear success stories. But when it's an early stage startup, it has to be, I think, built inside of you to join a startup. So I stick for that. I look for people that are fast learners, because I think it would be extremely hard for us building something completely innovative to find someone that has the exact experience that we need in the exact same domain. It could be close, which is helpful. But I think that when you build something that is super innovative, then you need people that can learn that innovation. And that's even more important than the experience that they bring to the table. So I put a lot of effort on that as well. And the last thing, I would say that I want people that can openly and freely share their opinion and speak freely. I think it's very important in a small team. Like for me, I remember it was very hard when it was just us, the founding team. And I felt that I really want to hear more ideas. I really want, when you work for like large companies, and they always say that You have 10 people in the rooms, you will have 100 opinions, right? And you always want to have less people in the room so that you can make decisions faster. But for startups, I feel that it's different. I feel that you don't have enough people in the room, that you just want to hear other people's opinions. So I want people that will be able to speak up freely, but I don't want people that will speak up in a judgmental way, because I need people that if they see that something does not work, and of course it won't, a lot of things don't work at the beginning, and that's, I think, natural. So I want people that won't complain about it to everyone, but they would suggest improvements and will go and make these improvements happen. Because I feel that as a CEO and as a founder in general, the last thing I want is that people just join the team and highlight the negative aspects. I have too much things going on to just hear that, rather than people that will come along and help us make things better.
This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When Auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. This episode is sponsored by MailySearch. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone, and you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need MailySearch. MailySearch has lightning-fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open-source AI search engine is plug-and-play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. MailySearch utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, MailySearch delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CODESTORY, all one word, at checkout. Just go to MailySearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. Let's flip to scalability. This will be interesting. I know it's still semi-early days, but I'm curious about where scalability has come into play. And that could be technical scale or team scale or customer scale, all of the things, really. I'm curious about scalability and where you've had to fight it as you've grown.
Coming from companies that had to grow massively, when I joined Gett, I think we were a little bit more than 100. And when I left, we were 1,200. Same goes with Moon Active. So that's like massive scale. I can talk a lot about that, but I have to say that in the context of MyUp, we are not yet there. If anything, for a team that came from more mature companies, I think that one of the struggle that we have inside in most of our discussions is to remind ourselves that we can do things not in a scalable way and not by the book, because it is most likely going to change soon. Yes, I think that we are not yet there at the scalability point.
So then let's move forward. Even in early days, as you step out kind of on the balcony, look across what you've built thus far, what are you most proud of?
I think one of the things that I'm most proud of looking back is the ability to take something that was a complete blank page, meaning just a conceptual idea that we were capable of talking about, but not yet to fill it, and then turning it into a living, breathing product, which I guess it's stating the obvious, right? That's building a startup means taking an idea and turning that into a product. But I'm not sure people really understand how crazy that is. And in our case, we didn't even have any reference to rely on or something to kind of start with. It was really starting from scratch. So we had to take the idea of what we want to achieve and break it into tons of small little pieces of things that we know and things that we don't know, and then start building it back up. And the fact that today, every time that we have someone join the team or I'm speaking to a new customer and I'm doing a walkthrough of the product and I'm explaining how this works and how that works, as if it's the most obvious thing that this button is placed here and this is how these elements connect to each other, I'm thinking about the fact that how just a couple of months back, all of this did not even exist, and it was so not obvious. So I think that's something that I'm very much excited about.
Keren, let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
I think that we had a couple of, I would say, bad hires to the team, which in our case, when we are a super small team, it means a lot. It means everything, actually, because every new person that joins and what they bring to the table changes the entire atmosphere and can also make a critical impact on the DNA. And I could see why startups at our phase, I would say, can find themselves in bad hiring because you do everything, right? When you want to hire someone, you don't have a recruiter. You have to source people yourself and manage them through the full process yourself. And you want someone to join so badly that sometimes you overlook probably some of the red flags that you see. And I've learned that's something that you should not overlook because it's super critical. And the smaller the team, the more critical every person that comes along.
Let's move forward then. This will be very exciting to hear all that you have planned. What does the future look like for MyOp, for the product and for your team?
One of the challenges that we deal with here at MyOp, and I think is going to be extremely exciting to see how the future looks like, is the fact that we are building a tool for developers in the era that AI is changing development completely. And it's not that we are post the shift addressing things that changes, rather than in the middle of the shift, trying to navigate our product to fit something that we're all experiencing as we go. The future of MyOp, I think, is in a position to become the infrastructure that allows tech teams to adopt and to handle and to absorb this massive change that I think is going to be a part of our life in the next 5 to 10 years. Because we are going to see more and more tools and more capabilities. And what we know today will probably be different in 6 months, which is perfectly fine. And yet we still have to manage the day-to-day, right? We still have to deliver new features and evolve the product and gain new users. I'm talking about all of us as people that work in the tech industry. And I think that the ability to position MyOp or to make MyOp not just as another tech startup, but as a tech startup that is helping companies be the driver or the safe zone or the only constant thing in this hectic evolution, I think that's a very exciting future. I believe that's the way to go. I believe that in a couple of years from now, we will see different approaches into how we manage the front end in applications. And I think that's super, super exciting. But I personally like to see things that are changing and evolving. So that's what drives me forward.
Let's switch to you. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
Generally speaking, I like to follow and to be inspired by people who experienced or did what I do now before. Because I think that the fact that people who experience things, challenges, built things successfully, not successfully, and they overcame the challenges and then took the time to write about it or talk about it or kind of cascade it down, the information and the learnings that they found. I think that for itself is a gift that I am more than willing and looking to take. So I do find myself reading a lot of the professional books. And if there is someone that I'm particularly inspired by the things that he or she have done or experienced, then I would follow them and try to learn as much as I can. So that's one of the things that I use now when I experience that.
Well, Keren, last question. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
Find someone to do this with. I would say don't go alone. I know there is now a new hype of saying solo founders, and with AI, you don't even need more people to go with you. But I think you do. I think that the founding team of a startup, that's probably the most important thing to get you successfully go through everything you have to go through, not just from the professional aspect. I would say even more not from the professional aspect, but from the aspect of feeling that there are more people that believe in the idea as much as you do and are willing to devote a significant part of their life to make it work. And that makes every discussion about every challenge or problem or a vision, it makes it a genuine, real conversation that I think it's priceless, and it's even more than many other things when it comes to entrepreneurship. So if someone would ask me, what's the biggest advice, I would say, find the partners to go with. It changes the whole experience in my mind.
I think that is fantastic advice and couldn't agree more. Well, Keren, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of MyOp.
Thank you.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.